Hello guys, this is Dr. Lior Bar-El. Today we're going to be talking about soulmates, you're the one you're supposed to be paired with and all of that, and how does it work in the spiritual type of aspect. Is it real, is it not? I had this as a request. Again, I wanted to end the mini-series at 6, but people are, I'm leaving it open, so if you guys have anything you want me to talk about, and to explain more, be sure to shoot down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to make a video about it, providing I have requests, or we see that we need to have it. Now again, with the Ayin Hara and all of that stuff, I already covered it in the other videos, and you guys could definitely look at it, and in the mini series. So now we're going to talk about the relationships. Okay, so I'm going to explain it to you, and I'm going to try to be a little bit brief about this because not that much to explain. But what happens is, when the Lord makes you, a lot of people, they believe that maybe the soulmates is what happens is we're one soul and then we're parted into, two people and all of that and all of this and whatever. The point is that's not exactly correct. What happens is in the womb, the Lord decides when you will, who you will have as a wife already. It's already preordained. The second you come out, you do your stuff, whatever, everything's ordained. Now, what happens when divorces occur and things like that occur, things don't work out? How can you explain that? A lot of people said, well, very simple. Now I'm going to explain to you. What happens is, like I said, we're all a bunch of energy. This thing, the skin and everything is just a perception that we have that there's something physical. Be sure to look at my video about what is physical in this world, because nothing really is. It's just a visual. We're all energy. Now what happens is these two energies, let's say a boy and a girl, we're going to just say, we'll call it, I don't know, whatever, Rudy, the dude, and the girl is, Miriam, okay? So what happens is Rudy and Miriam meet each other, and, they start to talk and like each other and whatever. There is this other capsule that's like this circle, this ball of energy, that's right in here. Now what happens is when you are two people that, you start to be more attached to each other and love each other and whatever, you guys get brought closer together. Now what happens is this ball of energy, you are the one, both of you are giving energy into that. So like I said, clairvoyance also, whether you're clairvoyant or not, there's women are more takers and men are more givers, but in a good way. What I mean is, like I explained, like a woman, let's say, would hug a guy who is really stressed, would suck that stress out of him and neutralize it in her body. That's what I mean by taker. A man, on the other hand, is more of a giver, so he would comfort the woman when she's in a stressed position, and he would be able to calm her down. Now that doesn't always work. Sometimes these energies, they collide and it doesn't sit well. Those are people that don't belong together. You understand? That's exactly how I explain it. And you could kind of see that in the energy, in the color of it. There's people that are compatible and people that are not. Now what happens is, there's even people that can't really calm each other out, but for some reason donate to this big ball, and I kind of like it because they complete each other. Whatever one lacks, the other one is good at, so they become great to fulfill one greater whole. You understand? One greater picture, and that's that ball in the middle. So each one gives off energy of a certain thing, and you work on that energy, and that ball builds. And the more it builds, the more you guys become closer and closer. I mean, have you ever been with somebody, with a significant other, that you no longer even find attractive, but for some reason, because sex and all that shit dies down, eventually. But the thing is, for some reason, you feel emotionally attached to that person. Like I know this woman who told me that she didn't find her husband appealing at all. Like she didn't like him. She didn't find him, his attitude, everything about him she disliked, but they were kind of forced into a marriage, in an arranged marriage, and she didn't like anything about him. But for some reason, after when they parted, she, when he goes on trips and stuff for business and stuff like that, she starts missing him, and she couldn't explain it. And he also misses her. And they both on the phone, they talk to each other, and that kind of, them missing each other brings them together, even though they don't find each other appealing. It's because they develop what's called an emotional attachment, but also it's a spiritual attachment. So you have something that's compatible that's holding you in lock together, okay? And that's that ball. Okay, so sometimes you would see a marriage, and I could tell you which ones will last in a second and which one will not. I mean, there's marriages that last only because they're pressured to, but I'm saying from a spiritual sense and from I would ask them, you guys definitely are not into each other. And that's the people that have no color on that ball. That ball becomes a grayish color. Sometimes it could have a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, not too much saturation in the color. So what happens is that ball is not really being fed. And that's because to these two people, Rudy and Miriam, they have nothing. They're not together. They're not being brought together. They're not meant to be together. But at the same time, they're sort of like ordained to be with each other, probably to appreciate someone else when they divorce later on. You don't know what something good, when you get rid of, you don't know what something good is if you don't have something bad, right? So people like from abusive relationships. I used to train lots of women in martial arts that went through a lot of crap in their lives. And what happened is their husbands used to beat the crap out of them, but they never said their husband's this, their husband's that, and they never divorced their husbands, which is beyond, whatever. But I would be able to immediately, when I would see the husband and wife, and I'd see that ball is gray and red, they have red tinting, then you know for a fact that yes, the ball is not being fed, but there's a lot of negative energy coming in and there's something going on wrong. And then you could, of course, see the soul of the husband, and if the husband is completely red and a very saturated red, you start to notice something. And I actually confronted the family, which is probably not a very smart idea to do, but in my situation, it happened to become very well. He was an alcoholic. He blamed his wife for pretty much all of his failures. And what happened is she just stuck by him because she had no means of supporting herself, and he would beat the crap out of her. And now he's in therapy. He's off. He does not drink anymore, from what I know, from what he told me. But you never know. But she said that they're starting to have a relationship that's okay, but she doesn't want to be married to him anymore. She wants to just be friends. And he couldn't explain it. He said, why can't I fix it? Why can't I do that? I said, because something, you screwed up, that ball here. You guys are not compatible. You were forced into a marriage. You were forced into this, and this is not the way to go. And maybe you guys do need to part. And I usually don't do that. I usually make sure that I do shlom bayit all the time. But then when I saw that, that they're not, it's only leading to more resentment, more that, whatever, I told them maybe they should step away from each other. And guess what happened? Immediately, we discovered the man cheated on the girl too, because he moved on to another woman, but he's happy with her, and this woman found another guy, and she's happy with him. So that's really what it comes down to. It's about compatibility, and it has everything to do with that ball that's in the middle. Even if you guys resent each other, you hate each other, okay? That ball in the middle could fix all of that and draw you closer together. But the point is, both of your energies have to be compatible in that ball to make one greater whole. Now, have you ever seen couples that are like I met this rabbi in Rebbitzin. Both of them had past relationships, and very, very amazing people. One of the very few rabbis that and Rebbitzins that I respect in this world, and that coming from me, that says a shit ton. That, and I value them a lot, and because of that, you kind of see it. And I call them like matzo ball soup. And I know it's funny because I'm a Heb and I'm saying that, but I'm saying the thing is, because the matzo ball does not go well on its own, without the soup that makes it, moist, or, whatever, makes it good. They kind of go, hand in hand together. It's like, for everybody else, pizza, right? Or, pizza, bread without cheese, so it's like bread and cheese together, together. That's how amazing this couple is. And sure, they might have disagreements. I never seen them have one, but I'm sure they do. Every couple has disagreements. Every couple has light fights. But the thing is, that ball that's in the middle between them, it is enriched. And I mean freaking enriched. I've never seen such saturation in deep colors before. And the only reason these are deep colors is because they both go very well, hand in hand. One cannot survive without the other in terms of that happiness level and that joyful level and that atzlacha, that success. And that's what it really comes down to. When you see that ball, you kind of understand that if the energies are compatible, it will contribute and it will draw people together, even if they don't like each other. But in this case, they do love each other. But I'm saying the other cases that I've seen, they don't like each other, but the ball drives them together because their energies are compatible. Because again, it doesn't really matter about the flesh. A lot of guys are like, oh, I want to date only a pretty Playboy model looking chick. And as they grow older, they're like, yeah, I'll settle. What they don't understand, it's not about that. Because Playboy model looking and all that stuff, not that they're not good girls, there's probably good girls in them. But I'm saying a lot of these women and men, they might look great, but they're not compatible because their energies are not good with you. So when the sex dies down, if all you guys have is sex, the sex dies down, no more are you guys going to be, the companionship is gone. Because you have nothing to talk about, nothing in common, nothing to do. I dated many women, and my past is covered with women, and it all had to do with basically more sex concentrated, a lot of them. And even though on one side, let's say, the girl was more emotional, because the women are more emotional, they're more connected, and with me it was not really that. So it might have been a bad thing, but at that time we were young, things were happening, and it was a great share of something, but we weren't compatible. We always butted heads, and in the end, it obviously ends up in parting, and all of that stuff. But it is what it is. The thing is, that's really what it comes down to. It's not about really soul mating. There's no real one soul turned into two. It's not. They're different souls. It's just the energies. Let's say, let's say somebody put, I don't know, God said, I'm going to make a bunch of blue balls here and a bunch of red balls over there. The blue balls are going to go very well with the blue balls. The red balls are going to go with the red balls. So the thing is, all of these are launched out. We're all really one people. But the thing is, those blues are going to be good with blue. Oh, God, why did I say blue balls? I have a sick head. Anyways, but the thing is, they're compatible, okay? And the compatibility is what drives them closer and closer together. Now, there's a lot of things that happen that ruin the ball. So let's say there's Rudy and Miriam love each other. Okay, they're drawn to each other. They're collided together, and there's a circle, and it's enriched, and it's saturated, and it looks beautiful, and they're connected. Then their parents play a game, and the number one thing a person needs to understand is when they get married, they have to love that person first. That's the first and foremost. The person you're marrying, you have to make an agreement that you love that person first. Because I've seen so many marriages break up, or so many long-term relationships break up from parents, even parents that want to kill the husband or the wife because they don't want their kid to marry them or be with them or even stay married to them. So when a person, on the early onset, when you're catching a person being easily manipulated by their parents or by anybody else that are convincing them and they're listening, you should automatically cut them away immediately, because the longer you're going to carry on this relationship, the more it's going to build up, and God knows what. They could try to kill you, try to do all kinds of crap, and in the end, it's going to drive you guys, apart. Because, if the umbilical cord is tied, you know what I mean, to the person, and the person doesn't know how to cut that umbilical cord, and they're constantly being fed bad stuff, and I've seen this happen. These beautiful, beautiful balls that were saturated and beautiful and very together end up being extremely gray and dark and nothing, to the point that it's just gray and unsaturated. It actually poisons that ball, an outside force. So always have a talk with your spouse, with everybody, with your husband, with your wife, anybody, or your boyfriend or girlfriend. Always have a talk and have an agreement that everything is between you and them. And then see where it goes from there. And don't let other outside forces try to screw you over, because outside forces are screwing them over, in which they're carrying it on to you. And this is all part of the plan of the evil and good that is trying to screw up your lives. Okay, the imbalances in energy. So what you do is you look for that energy, you look for that, and always remember to be in a positive attitude. I'm also going to give you guys a little bit of coaching here, which I've done for a lot of people that now I'm so glad are married. I'm like, people call me the Cupid. But the thing is, I know how to do these shidduchim because I know how to match people. And the truth is to be truthful. Never lie, never everybody on the first date lies. It's like a job interview. It's so freaking funny. I used to see them and I used to just like smile how cute it was. But it's just, it's stupid because when you're delivering a lie to someone, eventually they find out you're a liar. I don't care what happens. If you're looking for a serious relationship, you gotta be serious. You gotta be honest with that person from day one. So they either accept you or they don't. If they don't accept you, it's better to learn now than 3 years, 8 years down the line. You're going to be in total paralysis when you figure out there's something wrong. So you got to be really honest with the person from day one and tell them how it is, and with each other, and you got to make sure everything's on the table and all the baggage, all that stuff and whatever. Don't try to ease it in. Just be like, this is who I am. I'm very proud of who I am. And it's good to start with the negatives and then end with the positives. It's just human nature to like that kind of setup. And then when you find that person, you're going to notice that you guys are compatible. And that's really what it comes down to. Marriage doesn't come down to sex, even though it is a big part. Sex does make things interesting, but eventually sex dies. The number one thing is compatibility. As people today, we tend to see the outside, the flesh. If a woman, blonde hair, big boobs, nice ass, we're like, oh wow, this is what we want. The women like a nice firm butt, whatever, nice cheekbones on the guy, a tall man, all this stuff. And then what happens? It's just outer looks. It's gonna wear off sooner or later. And then what do you have? If the guy's beating the crap out of you and then you missed out on all these good people, I mean, what do you guys got? You got to concentrate. You got to look at things the way it is. It's all spiritual. And that's really what it comes down to, the spiritual connection. Otherwise, you see all these people that get married for money and get married for that. They're not happy in their life. They can tell you they're happy all they want. They have no idea what love is. They have no idea what anything is. And people that live their lives not knowing what love is and only what money is, you cannot tell me are happy people. They're people that are in the dark. When a person shares compatibility, you share this love, this common bond. You cannot match this. All the money in the world cannot pay for it. You understand? That is what love is. And, it's better to be lost in love than never to be loved at all, as the saying goes. But it's really true. Because to find that special love, to find that bond, is worth all the money in the world. And I think all these women or men that marry for money and sugar mamas and sugar daddies, they're really selling themselves short because, they're never going to know what it is to love ever in their lives. And it's just going to be bad. And when you have that ball that's considered, that's dark, eventually this shit is going to start giving energy to you. And that's where depression occurs. That's where all these horrible things occurs. That's what even leads to beatdowns and crap like that. The guy gets all these negative energies going into him and resentment, or the women, and they beat the hell out of each other. And, and eventually it turns into a world war where you want to kill one another or even kill one another. You understand? And that's why it is very important to understand that there is a ball and now you have to contribute to the ball. So look at it as this way. There's a big basket and you both are gifted and lacking in things, but you will fulfill what the other lacks and you contribute to the greater whole, to the greater basket. And that's what will lead to more a fruitful basket with kids that will be raised right, with children that will be raised nice and good and in a warm family and all of that, and everything is nice and great and no fights like that cause murder and shit. But it's compatibility and you both work to better your futures as companions to each other, for life. It's like I would say, I don't like calling it a business arrangement, but it's a fulfillment. It feels fulfilling. You feel truly blessed when you contribute to this greater whole and you see how fruitful it became. And that's exactly what happens. And the more, remember, that ball also gives off energy. So if it's negative, it's giving off negative energy. If it's positive, it'll give out positive energy. And this positive energy welcomes positive energy. Negative energy welcomes negative energy. And that's just the way life is in this testing facility called Earth. So that's the way you got to look at it. Always find that someone that you are compatible with. You don't have to agree with every little thing. You don't have to do with every little thing. But if you feel drawn to that person, other than looks, okay, I'm talking about to his personality, to his words, or to her words, to her personality, and you meld, you come closer together, you guys are going to be together forever, where a person who marries for looks or money even if they are together, it's never going to be a great relationship. It's going to be filled with misery, especially in your latter years. You know, in your later years, you're going to be suffering your entire life, and it's traumatizing. It's heart aching. It could really kill you. It could have negative side effects, and that's really what it is when it comes down to it. If you guys have any comments below of anything else you want me to cover. I was trying to be a little bit brief on this because not much to speak about, but there's no such thing as soulmate. I wanted to make sure that comes out, and I wanted to explain why and how things work in a relationship, and that's really what it is. It's just two compatible energies that contribute to a greater whole, and don't let anything on the outside try to influence that. And always remember, that's the secret, always remember to love that individual first. Obviously God above all, but I'm saying first in terms of, when I say first, I don't mean demean your mom and dad, but what I'm saying is know that you two are together, and no matter what mommy and daddy says, doesn't mean shit, because you two are already together, and now you love him, he loves you. Focus on the energy together, and focus on building it together, because mommy and daddy do not know it. They might have little feelings here and there and all that, but when they see a couple that's married, or for years they're together, if they become the wedge that goes between you, it's not, they don't have good intentions, and I'm telling you, it's not a good thing. And I'm not saying don't respect them, but don't respect that wish, because this is your life and you're living it, and you need to know. And also you need to be more selective in terms of like what you're doing. So you take into account, you're like, okay, this is what we're lacking. Talk with your significant other and try to better it. And that's really what it comes down to. And from all the stuff, I used to do a lot of relationship counseling. And that's how I always used to tell people, and I never had one couple that actually divorced, not one couple that except, the couple that I know, one couple that, the one that was beating his wife, obviously, that's not gonna, that's not gonna cut it. But the other ones I'm talking about that were natural, no hitting, no nothing, but just arguments all the time. All these people end up correcting it because they focused on that greater whole, and they made a better life for themselves. And that's really what it comes down to. So anyways, I'd like to know what you think below. Comment, let me know if you have any questions or anything you want me to cover. Or even if you have anything to say about this video, I'd like to definitely hear it. So definitely comment and subscribe. If you didn't see the past videos, look at the description below. I have all the past videos of the mini-series, but also look at my channel. I have a bunch of other things discussing all kinds of spirituality levels and all of that stuff. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. Bye.